Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am sharing, talking about haunted places in the U.S. There we go. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. There are many ways to support the show. You can always share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platforms. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. That is the 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 lowest, the least expensive plan. And you can also check out the merchandise store and get all kinds of shirts and some other items with designs made by friends of the show. Support is never expected but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. Also, please follow other friends of the show. That would be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co host of this show on Saturdays whenever she is able to make it. And Ricky of the Anything is Possible podcast, if I could talk. I've been doing shows on Sunday nights with him, talking all things paranormal. And then Mike of Trouble Minds Radio and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own, online 24/7 for free. And I think that takes care of everything, so we can get to the material here. Thank you all for being here and listening in. Especially thank you to those of you who are here live as I record this, because um, right now it is 1:02 a.m. Eastern, or roughly within that, within a minute or so either way of that. So getting back to this, it feels like it's been a while since I've done one of these shows, so I'm actually glad to be doing this again. Um, and we are on. I'm on my last location in the state of Maine. And again, just to go over, that's what I forgot to do. A couple of things about these haunted places in the U.S. shows. First of all, I'm just doing a rough overview, just a sampling, you could say, of locations in each state. This is not a comprehensive list. Um, Also, whatever I talk about, whatever locations I talk about, please uh, realize that the information I have may be out of date. And so, if you intend to visit any of these places or you want to, please make sure when it is okay and how to do that. Um, and be aware that some places might not be open to the public as well. So, and things can change over time. So, I think that takes care of everything there. So again, like I said, we are on the last location here in the state of Maine. This is Route 2A in Haynesville Woods, Maine. And this is a road with a long, dangerous history, according to the write-up here. Also, these summaries are all made using information that in searches I did online. So anyway, and a reputation for being haunted. Historically, the road was completed in 1832 to enable transportation of military supplies from Haynesville to Holton, Houlton. It later became a perilous route for truckers hauling Maine's potato harvest, known for its sharp turns, icy conditions, and uh, isolation, leading to numerous fatal accidents. I have heard winters in. I hate that word, winter. Uh, no offense to anyone that likes winter, but anyway, winters can be really bad there. The weather can get pretty bad. So, but anyway, uh, I was reading that, Mike, and I almost said that out loud, and that wouldn't have been good. Anyway, um, so going back to the write up here, this this dangerous reputation was immortalized in the 1965 country song "A Tombstone Every Mile" by Dick Curlis, a former trucker turned singer, referencing the many deaths along the road. The hauntings on Route 2A are centered around ghostly sightings and paranormal phenomenon in the Haynesville woods. The most famous legend is that of the bride in white. So sounds like a woman in white, similar situation there. A spectral woman seen barefoot, soaked from rain or snow. Another bad word. That word that started with S and then with W. Waving for help along the road. According to the tale, again, it does say a tale, so she died on her wedding night along with her husband when their car crashed off the icy road. Travelers claim she disappears the moment someone pulls over to help her. Alongside her, drivers report sightings of two young girls who vanished when offered rides, possibly linked to an accident in 1967 where two girls were hit by a truck. That's terrible. These ghost stories echo the themes of tragic deaths and restless spirits tied to the road's deadly history. The spectral bride and the hitchhiking children remain among the most chilling and repeated accounts by local truckers and travelers. And that's where that one ends there. So here you have the traveling hitchhiker, and you do hear about that with sometimes it's girls, not necessarily um a woman that's all grown up basically. So, but anyway, yeah. So that's a fascinating one. Of course, it's terrible that if anything like that actually happened, but roads can be dangerous, and there are many. If you look up online, haunted roads, you can find all kinds of accounts of that. So, moving on to another state here, Maryland. Maryland. Um, and I have several locations here to talk about. This first one is Point Lookout Lighthouse in Scotland, Maryland. Apparently, there's a town called Scotland. That's fascinating. It's recognized for its rich and sometimes grim history, as well as its reputation as one of the most haunted lighthouses on the Chesapeake Bay. Historical background: the U.S. government identified the strategic need for a lighthouse at Point Lookout in 1825 to warn ships of the shoals and mark the entrance to the Potomac River. After negotiating with landowner Jennifer Taylor, construction began in 1830 under John Donahue, Donahoo, and the lighthouse was first lit on September 20th, 1830. James Davis was appointed as the first keeper, but died only a few months later. Anne Davis, his daughter, became the next keeper and tended the light until 1847. The structure was initially a story and a half wooden and masonry building, expanded in 1883 to two full stories. In 1927, it was converted into a duplex so both a keeper and assistant could live there with their families. There's a lighthouse in a town nearby that I've been to for a couple of paranormal investigation events, and they have a duplex home situation there as well. The site was heavily impacted during the Civil War, with Hammond General Hospital and Camp Hoffman established nearby. The prison, let's see here, the prison camp held up to 20,000 Confederate prisoners, with thousands dying due to harsh conditions. The lighthouse was automated and eventually decommissioned in 1966, with the property coming under Navy and later state ownership. Restoration efforts continue to this day, with the lighthouse open for occasional public tours. Hauntings and paranormal reports. Numerous ghost stories and paranormal encounters are linked to the lighthouse and surrounding area, stemming partly from the suffering and death during the Civil War, tragedies at sea, and the fates of lighthouse keepers and residents. Parapsychologist Dr. Hans Holzer and his team investigated the lighthouse, reportedly capturing 24 different ghostly voices, both male and female, via audio recordings in the structure. Some voices referenced wartime experiences, and a female voice believed to be that of Ann Davis declared, "My home." That's fascinating. Visitors and investigators report chills, sudden temperature drops, and foul smells, which Holzer attributed to lingering spirits. These phenomena sometimes vanished after being publicly discussed. That's fascinating too. Huh. Visual apparitions, particularly of Ann Davis, that's the second keeper and the daughter of the first keeper, at the top of the stairs in period clothing, as well as Civil War soldiers, have been seen by multiple witnesses. Photographs taken during seances and paranormal investigations have captured misty forms, including the famous image of a Civil War era soldier. Other images depict figures invisible to the naked eye, like the headless man in a Confederate uniform and triangular kite shaped entities. That's fascinating too. That's triangle entities sounds like, or diamond, maybe, I'm not sure. Additional unexplained phenomena include the sounds of footsteps, rattling shutters, knocking on doors, spectral voices calling for help or uh, or protection, and objects moving on their own. Residents have reported books flying from shelves and mysterious puddles of water leading to the bay, believed to be the work of a drowned mariner's spirit. The general atmosphere of the lighthouse has been described as deeply, deeply unsettled, with paranormal activity persisting even after professional scrutiny. So that's it for that location there. Seems like so many of the so often when I find anything about lighthouses, they're said to be haunted. I imagine it's probably not the same. Not to say that every single lighthouse is, but it's one of those other kinds of places that seem to be common locations for that. This next one, I believe I might have talked about this in a previous show. I feel like I did, as a subject or something. I recognize the name anyway. Um, and this is the Antietam National Battlefield in Sharpsburg, Maryland. This is a site of remarkable historical significance and renowned paranormal activity. The bloodshed and tragedy that occurred here during the American Civil War have left a lasting impression both on history and in popular accounts of hauntings. History of Antietam Battlefield. The Battle of Antietam, also called the Battle of Sharpsburg, took place on September 17th, 1862, and remains the bloodiest single day in American history, with approximately 22,717 casualties, and they say dead, wounded, or missing. Confederate General Robert E. Lee's Army of Northern Virginia clashed with Union Major General George B. McClellan's Army of the Potomac near Sharpsburg along Antietam Creek. The grueling conflict unfolded in phases at pivotal locations such as Miller's Cornfield, the Sunken Road, later dubbed Bloody Lane, and Burnside's Bridge. Strategic missteps and brutal fighting shaped the day. After repeated assaults, neither side achieved a decisive breakthrough, but Lee's forces retreated back across the Potomac, giving the Union a crucial strategic advantage. The battle's immense casualty rate brought about significant historical consequences, bolstering momentum for President Lincoln to issue the Emancipation Proclamation and altering the course of the Civil War. Hauntings and paranormal reports. Uh, Antietam is considered one of the most haunted battlefields in the United States, with many visitors describing unexplained phenomena day and night. The Bloody Lane is often the focal point of ghost stories. Visitors and staff have reported sudden chills, the smell of gunpowder when no one is nearby, disembodied gunfire, basically just gunfire without any source of anyone being there, and apparitions dressed in Civil War uniforms. One well known account describes schoolboys hearing what sounded like Christmas music, later believed to be the Irish Brigade's Gaelic battle cry. Uh, and I'm not going to try to say that, which incorporates a chant similar to Deck the Halls. At the Dunker Church, a key landmark on the battlefield, paranormal investigators and park visitors have reported hearing voices, phantom footsteps, and seeing unexplained shadows, even when the building is empty. Photographs taken by visitors often feature mysterious orbs and mists, and ghost hunters frequently recount chilling sensations throughout the grounds. The lingering sense of tragedy is palpable, and some say that the energy of the thousands who died in a single day can still be felt by those who walk the fields and lanes of Antietam. So that's the end of that location. I've heard of that with other places as well. Just the events shaping the energy in the location and having effects on it. I'm gonna go right on to this next location here. See if we can get this one done in time. This is the Dr. Samuel A. Mudd House in Waldorf, Maryland. This is also called the St. Catherine, and it's a historic uh, farmhouse near Waldorf, Maryland, famous both for its pivotal role after the assassination of President Abraham Lincoln and for ongoing reports of paranormal activity within its walls. Historical background: St. Catherine was built beginning in 1857, with construction completed and the Mudd family moving in by 1859. The estate was originally part of a larger plantation owned by Thomas Mudd, dating back, and that's MUDD, dating back to the 1640s. That's a good ways back. Excuse me. The Mudds were a prominent family in southern Maryland, with Dr. Samuel Mudd running a tobacco farm and serving as a country physician. The family enslaved 11 people who worked. Okay, yes, I did. Who lived and worked on the property in different quarters, including the kitchen and a separate cabin. Dr. Samuel Mudd became a central figure in American history on April 15th, 1865. After assassinating President Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater, John Wilkes Booth fled and arrived at the Mudd House in the early morning. Booth's leg was broken, and Dr. Mudd treated the injury, allowing Booth and his accomplice to rest for several hours in an upstairs bedroom before they continued their escape. This act led to Dr. Mudd's arrest, trial, and conviction as a conspirator, though he consistently asserted his innocence. He narrowly avoided the death penalty by a single jury vote and was imprisoned at Fort Jefferson in Florida for several years before eventually receiving a pardon and returning to his home. So there's some more history here. I definitely recommend looking into this more. The house remained in the Mudd family for generations. But yeah, so we're going to skip that. We're going to get to the paranormal stuff here. So it's reported to be haunted, with numerous reports from both staff and visitors. Commonly reported phenomenon include apparitions and unexplained voices, sometimes attributed to Dr. Mudd, or Dr. Mudd's wife, Frankie Mudd. Electrical anomalies, such as electric candles in the windows turning on and off by themselves, especially during Civil War reenactments. That's fascinating. In the room where Booth stayed, a persistent human-shaped impression often appears on the bed, even when the sheets have been freshly made and tightly tucked in. Many interpret this as evidence of Booth's lingering presence, revisiting his final sanctuary before being captured and killed. So the museum has been featured in various ghost story collections and paranormal investigations, with some attributing supernatural happenings to both Dr. Mudd himself and significant figures like Booth. So it does go into more features here of the house just a little bit, but that is all the time we have for this episode. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.